Hello everyone, welcome back, and we're going to go over a little bit of the rig. As you saw earlier, I was building the rig, and now you see that the rig kind of finished. One of the problems I was having is this GPU, and that GPU was plugged into the risers, and I couldn't get the actual risers, the motherboard to see the risers. The drivers weren't installed or something. Something's up with this card. So I thought, well, I'll put the actual GPUs over here under the motherboard, and it's working with no problem. I had to install the drivers on the 1050 Ti, and it works fine now. So I've got them both running and working. So all the work that you saw that I just did now is working correctly. So it's always a little fearful when you turn this brand new rig on. Is everything going to work out okay? Which in this case it did. But this is part of doing rigs, is that you don't know until you do all this stuff. Why is this card that I bought and put these risers, or why is the riser card not working with the risers? The lights are on, they're powered. Don't know. So right now, presently, I've got them disconnected because I didn't want them to have a problem with keeping the GPUs running that I have. I want to make sure I'm running and making money. So when I'm ready to deal with that, I'll deal with it. But first off, I want to get this thing overclocked and get the GPU's hash rates up better than what I've got. And that takes a little bit of tuning, and I've got some other people I'm dealing with to help me on the Discord. Thank you, Discord people. And Brandon, you're awesome. Brandon Coin. So a couple of things here. I spaced these out so there's more space between here. You'll notice there's a very, very small amount of space between these two. Over here, there's a bigger space to let more air come in, because right now I'm running the fan on this full blast 100% to keep it down to about 62, 63 degrees. I was told a while ago by somebody that you want to keep 62 because if you don't, it can potentially melt the thermal paste on the processor. And I thought, okay, I don't want that. I don't know much about these yet, so I'm just going to take that and try to get as close as I can to 62 and let that go and go that route. Secondly is that I've got all my buttons here that normally is in the front of a case. I've got these separate from other cases I had sitting around. So the very top one, and I did this on purpose, that each one of these things are actually recessed back, so I can't accidentally turn on the rig or do anything to it from here. I purposely have to go inside here with my little finger and push it on, or get a pen and push it in. I don't want to go accidentally turning this off, so I recessed everything. So we have power, reset, the power light, and then the hard drive light. So everything is right here for me, along with being able to plug things in here with no problem and diagnose. The hard drive's in the back, which hardly ever get to, but I can reach back here, get to a hard drive, pull it out. I can reach over here to the power supply and do what I need to do. I can get to the power button on the back of this with no problem. One of the things that I like to do, I have a thing called an amprobe meter, and this particular one has the head that rotates one way, and it also rotates the other. So what I like doing is, instead of having to buy the amprobe or the wattage meters that people are plugging the rig into and plugging it onto the floor, sometimes it's hard to see there, and they're buried back in cables, and it gets kind of messed up. And if you want to plug it into another rig, now you have to unplug your rig and plug it into another one. Now you're losing money because you unplugged it. I set mine up to where I have one meter, and I take this meter, it's a clip-on, and what I did is the power wire comes up to this point, and the hot wire is right here. This hot wire is where the positive current from the transformer out on the street. It's very technical from transformers, but anyway, the hot wire typically is what you measure your amperage from. You can do it from the neutral, but it just simply isn't commonly done. So in school they teach use your hot wires, so I've always kept to that. But if you put this on a neutral wire, you can also get the meter readings. I've never actually compared the two, never really cared that much. I always keep what works, and this is what works. So I've got it clamped here, so what I normally do is I turn on my meter or clamp it on. I can just let go because I've got this attached to the actual frame, no problem. So now I can let go and I can put this on, and I can look at this, and it's telling me it's 3.8, it's about 3.7 amps. For every amp, you get about 120 watts. So if you take 120 watts times 3 plus a percent, you'll get your wattage for the entire rig. This is telling me the wattage for the entire rig. So if I had 9 cards on here, all the power that's coming into that power supply back there is actually coming to here first, and then the power goes back out around and goes into the power supply. The beauty of this is I don't have to have multiple wattage meters on every rig. I set this up so here's my power. I take the one unit that I purchase and I can come to here and clamp on and say, what's my wattage? Okay, it's 3.5, 3.6 amps. Great, I'm done. I move on to my next rig and clamp it on. What's that one? So I don't have a problem with determining, and I have one cost. I don't have multiple costs for rigs. So that's a good way of saving money. So I think for now, that's it. If you have any questions, give us a call, 513-549-4093. Enjoy.